And I'm recording.
All right. Can anyone see me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mr. Slate.
I can see everybody.
I can see you. Hey, Mr. Landgear, how are you doing?
Fine.
Madam Mayor, good to see you.
Such a pleasure.
Barney, how's it going working from home?
Oh, it's going great, Mr. Slate. Thank you for asking. I just have to ask you, though, I know that all the other workers have returned to the quarry, and I'm still considered non-essential. Why is the chief environmental officer of the quarry considered non-essential?
Oh, Barney. Always asking the tough questions.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's go on with the meeting. We got everyone here and everyone's tight on time. So can you go ahead and show the agenda, and I'll run through it real quick?
Who has the agenda?
I'm not sure.
Can someone pull up the agenda, please?
I think you have to press that button.
Which button? The big red one?
Yes, the big red button.
Okay.
There it is. Okay.
Okay.
So
good.
the agenda, just to, for our off-the-record the attendees are Mr. Slate, the owner of the quarry, and myself, Barney Rubble. I'm the Chief Executive Officer over at the quarry. Mr. Landgear, who's with the Airport Authority, and Madam Mayor. Thank you all for joining today. The agenda, we're going to talk about the sunset clause and hope that the public has not figured that one out. We'll also address airport revenues. We want to get an update from our esteemed mayor on local elected officials and how we can help keep them out of this, make sure that they remain quiet. And then we'll talk about public hearing updates, followed by new business, monkey business, and then we'll adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Slate. So first of all, let's talk about the sunset clause. As we all know, the original quarry was set to shut down after 50 years, which would be 2031. That was the original agreement. But we did convince the DEQ and the mining folks that there was a typo in the original submission. And at the time, everyone agreed that the original sunset clause read, the mine was to close no later than 50 years, which would make it 2031, we'd have to shut down. We found an interim director, and we were able to convince them to change that to no earlier than 50 years. So we're good to go for hundreds of years, I think.
So it's not really a sunset clause. It's more like a sunrise clause.
Good point, Madam Mayor. Very good. Good point. Well, listen, the change we made to the sunset clause behind everyone's back is key to our expansion plans next to Umstead Park. If we can't expand past 2031, the expansion plans make absolutely no financial sense whatsoever. So let's go on and keep with the agenda here. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Landgear with the airport. Mr. Landgear?
I have something bad to report here. The current airport revenues are down about 80%, so I think it would make sense to build, say, a multi-million-dollar fence around the woods. We shouldn't burden our good friends at the quarry with needless security costs. So, not to mention it will keep those pesky animals from running around the woods. I'm worried that if the quarry has to live with the original correct sunset clause, then the airport won't get close to its projected royalties from the quarry. The deal from the Conservation Fund is starting to make a lot more sense. But we all have to remember, we said we can't sell any public property run by the airport, but it's okay to lease it for 39 years to a private quarry who will permanently destroy the land next to Olmsted Park. But never will we have to sell it.
Oh, that's a good point, Mr. Landgear. Thanks. Let's turn it over now and let's hear from the mayor. Madam Mayor, what can we do with your office to help ensure that we won't lose this lawsuit and we won't lose this permit fight?
Well, we can't lose. I've bullied the city council into complete inaction. We said we couldn't get involved with the lawsuit because, as one of the landowners of the Oddfellows property, we can't rock the boat. And besides, the quarry owners are one of my biggest contributors. Next, I blame the coronavirus shutdown for our inaction on seeking a public hearing with the DEQ. Our city has to worry about public health, not public property that can be used for healthy activities. I also shut down the citizens group to keep folks quiet. I'm confident that if DEQ grants a public hearing, I can convince the city council not to get involved. The city has no right interfering with a private business that wants to destroy taxpayer land next to the most popular state park in North Carolina. I'll make sure us elected officials stay out of this.
Bully.
Wonderful,
Very good.
wonderful.
Oh, that's great news. That's fantastic news. Well, Madam Mayor, unfortunately, we just heard recently that the DEQ did agree to a public hearing before July 7th. They heard from hundreds and hundreds of angry residents that wanted to have an input into this process. Now, we really need to work with our public officials and make sure the public does not get in our way. Remember, our current quarry was originally denied, and Mr. Slate had to grease a lot of palms to get it approved. Mr. Slate, do you have the next round of campaign contributions ready?
Of course, they're always ready, and we should be good to go for the next election.
Good, good. Well, you know, luckily the governor is way too distracted with the coronavirus and his reelection coming up to do anything. We all know that just one call from the governor to the state parks and our expansion plans on public property could be in major jeopardy. Also, let's hope that the media doesn't investigate the sunset clause, okay? Or no more quarry after 2031. As we say down at the quarry, what's not to love about a 400-foot hole on public property?
Hey, Mr. Slate, don't forget my campaign contribution you promised.
Oh, I could never. The check is on the way.
No checks, please. Cash only.
Oh, that's a good one.
Awesome.
Well, listen, let's wrap it up here. It was great to see everybody. I'll make sure that the public record of this meeting is completely destroyed, and we will not have any Freedom of Information Act requests for this one. So rest assured, the Quarry is going to move forward. There's nothing the public can do as long as the four of us stay together in this fight. We must defeat the people that want healthy lifestyles and healthy living in this area. So thank you all, and we'll see you at the next Zoom meeting.
Thank you,
Bye.
Bonnie.
Nice to see
Bye,
you.
Mr. Slate.
Goodbye, Mr. Landgear. Bye, Madam Mayor. Bye, Mr. Slate.
Goodbye,
Mr.
everybody.
Rubble, always a pleasure.
Yes.